the older generations don't understand the cost of living on these young people because they didn't have to deal with it.
There's a number of things I want to cover with that. Number one, you're right in everything that you say. But number
Clip
two,
it. Clip. That's the intro. Welcome into another edition of Mostly Peaceful with Dan and Chris. My name is Chris Hand. To my left is Dan Mandis. And what do you want to talk about?
men in pajamas. So can I ask?
What?
I'm walking or driving into work today. It is about 3:30 in the morning, and there's a grown-ass man walking down the street in front of the radio station. I kid you not, he's wearing pajamas and carrying a pillow. And then I've noticed, we may have talked about this before, but what is it about young, either maybe teenage, 12, 13, 14-year-old, 15-year-old kids, young men that are wearing pajamas? Why are they wearing pajamas everywhere they go?
I don't know.
Have you noticed that, though?
I'll tell you what. I got invited to a pajama party the other week with a bunch of other families, and like the kids were all wearing pajamas. And my wife was like, well, we're all wearing pajamas. And I said, that's great. Yeah. She's like, I pulled some out for you. I said, no. And she said, but it's a pajama party. I said, then I'm going to stay. If I can't go in my regular clothes, I'll just stay home because I'm a grown man. I'm not wearing pajamas. And I get there. None of the other dads were wearing pajamas.
No.
And all the dads opted out of pajama time. I would say to the guy while I was walking in front of the radio station, did he have a dog? Because I think that would be the only time where I would find it acceptable is if you woke up late and you're walking the dog. I have gone out front of my home,
Sure,
in pajama pants, sweatpants, some shorts or something, and let the dog out.
Mm-hmm. There is something about young teenage boys or men where suddenly, for whatever reason, it is acceptable. And it started with the teenage girls, and it still continues with the teenage girls. And then somewhere along the line, the teenage boys decided that it was okay to walk around wearing like pajama bottoms and either a pajama top or a wrinkled shirt. And I remember when I was growing up, if I even wanted to go out in sweatpants, my dad would be like, no, you're going to go put on pants. You're going to go put on jeans, have some self-respect. And it's like these kids are just, I don't know if they no longer have any self-respect or what it is, but I've noticed a trend. And I don't know what it is, if this is just a continuation of young teenagers growing into adulthood where they don't want to embrace being an adult. But I don't know about you. When I was a kid, I could not frickin' wait to be an adult. And now it's like the younger generation, and I'm not going to, obviously say all of them clearly, but it just seems like there's this hesitation to grow up and be an adult. It's like, don't wear pajamas when you're going out to some place, including like a restaurant, because you look like you're 9 and you're 17. Act like an adult.
Hit like and subscribe for more Get Off My Lawn moments with Dan Mandis.
What would you like to talk about?
I'm with you. I'm with you. Step it up. Step it up, guys. I think that's a fair critique. However, what angers me far more is the adults who are in their 30s who don't have any kids and still want to be children. Like nothing annoys me more than the 30-year-old, no kids, the dinks, the double income, no kids, the dinks, and they spend their vacations at Disney World. That's for little kids.
Or we talk about, are they gay or are they straight?
Both.
Okay.
All of them. It could be like a wife and a husband, but they're dinks. They're double income.
Well,
no kids.
You can appreciate.
No.
Grow
up.
Come on.
Grow up.
Okay, now you are being the get off my lawn guy because it's a free country. I thought you were conservative, and don't conservatives appreciate, with the exception of abortion, freedom of choice and liberties and that kind of thing?
Not when your choice is supporting the conglomerate of Disney. And then you're like a weirdo that's doing Legos on the weekend.
What's wrong with Legos on the weekend?
Did I hit a chord?
No, not at all.
Are you working on like the Millennium Falcon or something?
I might be, as a matter of fact.
No, but like there's it's this contingent of people that like are perpetual children. They all seem to be leftists too.
Well, that is true. I think that, number one, I don't believe there's anything wrong with going to Disneyland as an adult, even by yourself. I would do that.
Dan,
But you know what the thing
Dan
is?
goes on Disney cruises.
I don't go on Disney cruises. However, if my pretty wife wanted me to go on a Disney cruise, I would absolutely go on a Disney cruise. However, you would have been proud of me. It was actually a conversation in my house where she said, I want to go on a cruise. We got the youngling, we got Riker. And so she wanted to go on a Disney cruise with Riker and me. And I said, honey, I don't think I want to go on a Disney cruise. I channeled my best Chris hand, and so I ended up going on a far more expensive cruise
A floating
with Royal Caribbean.
We don't need a floating prison with mascots.
No, but
I don't know how you do cruises. It is terrifying to me. And I always thought of them as floating prisons. And then during COVID, my wife worked with a friend, and her mom got stuck on a cruise ship out in the ocean for like 4 weeks.
it's awful. Like what those people went through, like they ran out of food.
Yeah.
The plumbing, I don't know if the plumbing stopped working, but it was terrible.
Do you remember that? Like
I do.
That's nightmare fuel. Why would you ever get on one of them boats?
You know what? First of all, you don't anticipate that there's going to be that kind of a problem. But I don't consider them floating prisons. I mean, if you buy the drink package, it's the complete opposite of a prison. That's number one. Number two, there's a lot of great food. There's a lot of great family stuff. I don't think, and this is no offense to you, I just don't think you're the cruising type.
No, and I don't drink. So that eliminates a lot of the fun. I would
No,
assume.
your kids would love it. Your kids would love it. I think that, there's certain cruise ships where you can slides and all that kind of stuff. But I feel like you would be the trip ruiner.
I probably would.
Where you're just going to be like complaining about every little thing. So
yeah, I probably would.
You're the kind of dad that won't even put on pajamas for a pajama party.
None of my kids were shocked or stunned.
It would have been funny though. What would have been better is had you actually put on pajamas and you arrive and you're the only dad in pajamas. That would have been awesome.
Yeah, I'm glad I avoided that.
Did all the guys kind of huddle together in the kitchen and say, "Did your wife try to make you wear pajamas too?"
We did.
Did you really?
We all did, and every single one of us were like, it was a hard pass for me, bro.
You know what's amazing? Maybe my marriage is different, but I'm thinking if Amy actually asked me to put pajamas on for a pajama party, would I actually do it? I would try to find something that was pajama-like without actually wearing pajamas.
Well, Brian Wilson's Christmas party's coming up, and that's a pajama party. It's a pajama party this year.
Brian's party is a pajama party?
Yeah. You didn't see that?
No, I know you're bullshitting me because
I was trying to get Dan to wear pajamas to Brian's. I was literally
I would be the guy.
In my head for a second. I'm thinking, okay, how do I commit to this? Like, do I need to text Brian to get him in on it? So that way Dan shows up to the Christmas party in pajamas. I almost went the whole way.
Amy would show up in like a Mrs. Claus outfit, and I would be like the elf. I'd wear my little elf costume
with the little bells on your shoes. Can you believe that we're a couple weeks away from Thanksgiving?
It's amazing. I'm waiting to put my Christmas stuff up.
Do you celebrate Thanksgiving, or do you do?
Oh, yeah.
It's you recognize that we're on stolen land, and
you know what? When we do the prayer, we do recognize the indigenous tribes that we have stolen land from. So I'm in Wilson County, Tennessee. So every year we
acknowledge
there's
a land acknowledgement.
The land acknowledgement for the Wilson County Indian tribes.
There you go.
Is what we do.
Based.
You know what the funny thing is about those land acknowledgements is that if you want to just give the land back, like if you own a home in that county, I'm sure there's an Indian somewhere, an Indian family, that Native American, that would love to live in your house. Go give it to them. You know what I mean? Was it the DNC? Remember that DNC meeting where they opened up with that land acknowledgement?
Yes.
And we had so much fun with it at the time. I think we all played the audio.
Yep.
And there is absolutely no limit to the stupidity of the progressives and the left. And they're getting worse.
Well, during the election, there's a group called the Nelk Boys. They're podcasters. They're primarily Gen Z audience, right? But they're funny guys. They were going up to houses with Kamala Harris signs, and they were knocking on the door, and they would be like, "Oh, do you support this? Oh, yeah, of course, I support this. Do you support, helping illegal aliens or undocumented citizens in this country?" Like, absolutely, I support that. And they'd pull out a walkie-talkie, be like, "We got one, boys, come on in." And then a bus would pull up and be like, "We got 4 or 5 guys that would love to be able to stay with you." And they'd be like, "What? No."
They all come running out of the van.
Yeah, and then they like slam the door shut in their face. Like, what happened?
I think I saw that.
But that's
Jose needs his medications at 4.
Yep.
Oh, that was so funny.
That's the reality of the left. They support all of this insane stuff, but they would never go the distance.
Oh, no. And it's funny because what they do support is falsely accusing a president of having his way with teenage girls with the whole Epstein thing. So I'm sure that people watching know what the Democrats tried to pull this week with these cherry-picked emails that Jeffrey Epstein sent.
Yep.
And what's so dumb is that, like, I'm watching CNN this morning. We're taping this on Thursday.
Wall-to-wall coverage.
Dude, wall to wall. It was like, oh my God, they opened up with Epstein. They got 6 panels, 6 people talking about these cherry-picked emails. And the thing is, aren't the Democrats the party of no evidence? Remember that? Everything they always would say is, Donald Trump, with no evidence says the election was stolen, right? So they always like to use that term, no evidence. So there's no evidence at all that Donald Trump did anything untoward with these teenage girls many years ago. But they're releasing these emails where it's clear that their whole story, the Democrats, CNN, their whole story is based on innuendo and obfuscation. So I went through my show. I'm sure you did the same thing too. I go through the emails and it's like, somebody please tell me where it says that Donald Trump molested these teenage girls. It didn't say anything. As a matter of fact, the emails and what Virginia Giuffre, before she passed away, in the past, she has said many times that Donald Trump. Yeah, that she has said many times that Donald Trump did nothing.
Yep.
Out of the ordinary.
The same network, by the way, it was about a year and a half ago, or no, more than that, but January 2024. Remember when that Epstein email dump happened in 2024? And it said that Bill Clinton personally reached out to Vanity Fair to shut down an article about Jeffrey Epstein.
Yep, I remember that.
Where's the same energy? Where is there any energy for that? And,
nope.
And I mean, we've done this so many times. Bradley Edwards, defense attorney for Epstein victims, saying the only high-profile elite member of society that he reached out to that reached back was Donald Trump. And he didn't even have to depose him because he gave him actionable information. We know that if there was anything, the Democrats would have used it already. Like, it's also tiresome. The messaging from the Trump campaign and administration sucks. We can be honest with that. Calling it a hoax, it adds fuel to the fire. The hoax is the focus from the Democrats.
Yeah.
The hoax is the energy that they now have for Epstein victims. That's the hoax. That needs to be explained a little bit better by the Trump administration. And, I mean, we can go down the line. The biggest failure of the Trump administration so far has been messaging. It's him flying off the handle, saying something crazy, and then everybody being able to run with it. Been part of his issue even the last term. But I think it's been more highlighted in these last 10 months.
And especially in the last week. I mean, it has not been a good week for Donald Trump. That interview with Laura Ingraham was not good.
It was. I will say this. I'm not a huge Ingraham fan. One of the best interviews she's ever done.
Well, she pushed back.
Kudos to her for doing so.
The president does a lot of interviews, and oftentimes, I can imagine when you're interviewing Donald Trump, and I've never done this, but he's exhausting because oftentimes he won't answer the questions and everything's the greatest ever. You know what I mean? And he says the same things over and over again about the stolen election and all those things. And regardless as to how you feel about whether or not the election of 2020 was stolen, at some point it falls on deaf ears. Even if you're right, it falls on deaf ears. If they're asking you, for example, about the economy and what are your plans to fix the economy, he would go back and talk about 2020 and the stolen election. And it gets so frustrating because, no, we want to hear what you're going to do about the economy, not about the 2020 election.
And we want a little honesty. Like,
Yeah.
it takes time for these things. Like,
See, that's what he needed to say. That's what he needs to say is,
be like, I understand it's not happening overnight, but I'll tell you what, we've unleashed American energy. Gas prices are coming down. Interest rates are coming down. You've seen me battling Jerome Powell to lower interest rates.
Yep.
He could have highlighted all that stuff, but at the same time,
and the tax cuts for next year.
it takes time.
It takes time. He hasn't even been in office 10 months. The interesting thing is that Trump, in another interview, I think this one was with Brett Baer, where he was complaining about the Republicans' messaging and how they're not talking about how well the economy has been or is doing, which is fine, but he's a big problem with the messaging because he needs to be able to go right down the line and say, just like you just did, he needs to be able to go right down the line and say, we've done this, we've done this, we've done this, we've done this, and the Democrats have fought me on this and this and this, but overall, gasoline and eggs are down.
Yep.
And the rest is soon to follow.
That would be key. I would like it. Instead, we get, well, we don't have any talent. We need more H-1B visas. Can you believe that?
That's what I mean. He had a rough week,
but the messaging really disenfranchises younger voters who turned out in droves for him.
Yeah.
You know, they say that Gen Z is the most conservative generation, and I think that Charlie Kirk had a lot to do with that.
Mm-hmm.
But they're missing the mark with their Gen Z voters, and they're not going to lose them to the Democrats. They're just going to lose them. They're just
They're just
going to sit it out. I don't see them voting left.
Right.
I see them not voting at all. Because when you look at especially the H-1B visa, they'll go, oh, this is the uniparty. It is two wings, same bird.
Yeah.
This is exactly what I was worried about.
Well, and here's the deal. You have the Republicans who had, during Trump's first term, they could have fixed the H-1B visa problem. Of course, the Democrats didn't do it. And now we even had J.D. Vance come out and call out the H-1B visa issue. And still, as far as I can tell, there's been nothing actionable that has been done so far with the Trump administration and the H-1B visa issue. Instead, what he does, he goes out and he defends it. And he says, we have no talent here in America. Now, I know what he meant. He's talking about the Hyundai plant and South Korea and all that. And I get that. But from a messaging standpoint, there's a better way to say what he said without just saying, I'm going to paraphrase, no, we don't have talent in America. It came off as wrong.
What he should have said, which is what he was going for, is he should have said, listen, the days of Americans training their foreign replacement are over, and you can take that to the bank. Are we bringing people to come in and train Americans?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Which is what was happening at that plant in Georgia. You had Hyundai and LG.
And then there was another one that got raided, though, and they were just straight up illegal aliens on overstayed visas, and it was a tire plant.
I don't remember that one.
So, but I mean, like some of it's like,
those are a dime a dozen. You know what I mean? So, and I'm glad we're doing that, by the way. So the ultimate question is, and people hate when I do this, but I'm going to do it anyway. But, a number of things can be true. Number one is, okay, so if South Korea and Hyundai and LG, they spend $10 billion, this is Trump's example, $10 billion to build a plant in Georgia. They want this plant built to their specs, and they want their South Korean employees to build it. So they're going to spend a year in Georgia, build the plant, train the employees, and then they go back home. I can understand why that is necessary.
Yep.
But that's different than the technology companies ripping off our college students and our citizens by firing them and then bringing in all these dudes from India. So
Will Cain had a great breakdown of everything and on Fox News, and he's done. You talk about the turnover at Fox News. What an upgrade he's been over Cavuto. Oh my gosh.
oh yes, he has been.
Will Cain's been awesome, but he laid it all out.
Well, let's play that video real quick. This is Will Cain talking about where the foreign workers are coming from.
STEM fields dominate the occupations, and most of the workers come from India. In fact, 70% of H-1B visa holders come from India. Another 10 to 15% come from China. 80% of H-1B visa approvals are for entry-level or junior-level jobs. That's a little hard to stomach when we hear that we're not talented enough or that we're not skilled enough for these jobs when you consider that most of these jobs are actually at entry or junior-level jobs.
And the big stat that stands out to me is that 80% of the visas are for entry-level positions.
That's your 18, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24-year-olds who come out of college riddled with debt, and now they can't get a job.
Is that a talent issue, or is that a undercutting American workers issue?
Well, that's an undercutting the American worker issue, because if these are entry-level jobs, then guess what? The American workers can be trained to do those jobs.
Well, and I'm so tired of everybody thinking like you need to be a wizard to understand computer programming, and like we're just too stupid to do it, when the reality is you can train an 8th grader how to do it.
Well, if it's a matter of training, and you're talking about college-educated American students, how much training do they need?
Thank you.
Right? Why do we need to bring in some, bunch of guys from India who, as you and I have covered in previous podcasts, they're willing to come in and work for a lot less money, live in the same apartment, send all that money home, and the companies make out like bandits.
Yep. And then we're losing a lot. So it's like the guy's he makes $80,000 a year. The American worker would have made $120,000.
Yeah.
So the company saves $40,000. But then the Indian guy turns around and sends $40,000 of it out of the country, so it doesn't even touch our economy.
Right. And if we're worried about, earlier this week I talked about a story where, we have a problem with population in this country. We're not producing enough kids, and so they're predicting that in the future we're going to have a population problem. So then the question is, why are people not having kids? Why are younger generation not having kids? It's because they don't have the stability. They don't have a job. They can't afford a home.
Yep.
So they're not going to put themselves in a position where they're going to have a bunch of kids and they still got all this debt. They can't afford a home. And
there's only two ways to fix the home prices. You either increase the supply or you decrease the demand.
Yeah.
And importing new people is only going to increase demand.
Right.
And it's not just the homes, it's the rental properties too.
Yep.
I mean, I am blessed, and it's one of the reasons why we love the house that we're in, because we got the unbelievable 2% interest rates, right?
You got 2% interest rate?
Yeah.
Mine was 2.7.
Dude, it's crazy. I don't know, like by the grace of God. But there are 2-bedroom apartments in Murfreesboro that are going for more than I pay for my mortgage now.
Mhm.
And it's like,
Same here.
it's insane. And we expect these kids to pick themselves up by the bootstraps while they're paying. It's like this argument doesn't work anymore. There is a generational divide here that the older generations don't understand the cost of living on these young people because they didn't have to deal with it.
Right. There's a number of things I want to cover with that. Number one, you're right in everything that you say. But number two,
Clip. That's the intro.
But at the same time, I think that the younger generation also has expectation issues, where they expect to grow up in a home that their parents grew up in, that they grew up in and their parents owned. They got to realize and understand the concept of starter homes.
But, I mean, the starter homes now are so expensive too.
Yeah.
Like even a starter home is ridiculously
I
expensive.
guess what is the what is the
my
concept of a
question is
starter home?
why shouldn't a young kid, like, probably like what, 1,200 square feet, 2 to 3 bedrooms, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Like
Keep talking. I'm gonna look
but
something up.
why shouldn't a young American citizen who goes to college, works their tail off, gets good grades, have the expectation of being able to get a good job and then live somewhere nice? Like that, the to say that you have an expectation issue in that sense, I feel like, again, you're missing the mark. Yeah, I think the American dream should be the expectation
Mhm.
for all these young people, and that's all they want.
But they do have to understand, and I'm trying to look up for me because you're going to be better at this than me because I'm old. I can't think, talk, and Google at the same time. How much would be like? So you said a starter home, 2 bedroom, 2 bath, 1,200 square feet, Murfreesboro, where you live.
Yep.
How much is that? And so while you do that, um, I think that there are young adults who believe that they should be able to afford the home that their parents are in. Now, my starter home was, now granted, this is 31 years ago, but it was a 3 bedroom, 2 bath, very small home in Lakewood, California. But you're right. These days, even starter homes, I've seen some pieces of crap
Yeah.
that are more expensive than
So
my house.
this is from 2024 CBS, April of 2024. So
Okay.
it's probably a little bit more expensive now
Yeah.
because of the way things
Yeah.
go. Americans must earn at least 76,000 a year to afford a basic home in the US. Sharp increase from the recommended income to become a homeowner before the pandemic. 4 years before that, 2020, it was 40,000 annual income could afford a typical starter house.
Yeah.
And that's, yeah, two bedroom, 1,200.
Okay.
1,200
So
square
then the
feet.
question is, and so you said 70?
76 in 2024,
Which
40,000 in 2020.
so now it's probably up to about what, maybe 80?
80, 85 probably.
People's people's salary is not going up that high
But this is
and that quickly.
the other thing that the younger generations have an issue with. Okay, so you're telling me to pick myself up by my bootstraps, but you worked for 30K a year. Your wife got to stay home, and you could afford that house, and
There
you could afford that car, and you could afford that vacation,
Yeah.
and you could afford those kids. So, like, the pick yourself up by your bootstraps, conservatives especially, and older conservatives need to, if you want to win the young vote, you want to keep millennials and Gen Z on our side, that needs to be eliminated from the vocabulary, because the way prices have increased and wages have flatlined, this is not. And then on top of that, now I'm competing with the Indian with the H-1B visa. Now I'm competing with the Chinese college student for a spot at Harvard.
and AI.
Now, you know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
all these roadblocks that are being set up for this younger generation were not there for
Right.
everybody saying pick yourself up by your
Here's the
bootstraps.
question. Here's the question. Do kids coming out of college today, and I've got a great example. Do kids coming out of college today have the same level of opportunity that you did? And I didn't finish college. I don't know if you finished
I didn't
college.
even go.
So when we were like 19, 20, 21, 22, when I got out of like 18, 19, 20, 5 jobs, all in radio. Nobody would give me a full-time job. But eventually I got one. But I got one in my industry because I wasn't competing with all of these, people from India or China or whatever. But eventually somebody did give me a full-time job. It was easier to get a full-time salaried job in 1988 with a company that would actually give you a competitive salary. These days, not a lot of companies are going to give a full-time job. That's number one, because of the astronomical cost of healthcare, among other things. So that's number one. And number two, you have everything else that is really expensive as well. So you're right about the pick yourself up from your bootstraps, because we do have an entire generation of younger adults who want to pick themselves up from their bootstraps, and they've got the drive, but everywhere they turn, there's roadblocks, and everything is too expensive.
And we didn't even get into the DEI push.
Oh God,
Do you know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
like,
I
yeah,
sure
as
do.
as a young white man, I didn't have the roadblocks because I was getting into the industry before the Obama stuff.
Yeah,
You know, so it was easier for me to kind of get my footing
yeah.
and rise in the ranks and find that full-time job. But now it's like not only it's like the level of competition, and then you're demonized for being white. There was a guy who was getting really frustrated. He was applying to all these jobs, he couldn't get anything, and he had like 30 years of experience doing this. He applied to Coca-Cola, it's like logistics, nothing. Gets an email back. Sorry, you're not, you're not what we're looking for. This is recently. So even with all the Trump back in office pushback against DEI, he said, "Well, I'm really getting frustrated." He goes, "Let me see what I can do." He changed his name to LaShawn,
No, he did not.
and he reduced his qualifications by 50%. The same job that denied him that he applied to with Coca-Cola was interested in giving him an interview.
Holy jeez!
It's 2025.
And did he get the job? Well, when he shows up and his name's not LaShawn.
Yeah, exactly. But it demonstrates the roadblocks that these kids have.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The older conservatives, especially white conservatives, do not understand what it's like trying to get yourself off the ground
Yeah.
for Gen Z and millennials to a lesser extent in 2025.
So what you're telling me, Chris, is 50-year mortgages is not the answer.
Although I will say from an investing standpoint,
It's good for flippers.
if you're flipping,
Yeah, if you're flipping.
there's some benefit. Every new thing is going to create opportunity somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Is it good for the person who's buying a starter home and then they're going to live in it for 50 years and just rent from the bank? Like, no. For the guy that's out there, getting a fixer-upper
Right.
that wants to hone his skills, rehab a house and then flip it for more money, like,
Right.
yeah, I could see the benefit there.
There is a benefit. There is a benefit as well. I mean, if I was going to find something positive about the 50-year mortgages, I would say that you're not going to live. Most people don't live in their homes 20 years, let alone
Yep.
50. So you go in and you're able to build that equity, but you're going to get less equity as time goes on because you're paying so much money in interest. It gives you a
Like,
foot in the door.
But it's like 87% more interest is going to
Right.
be paid over the life of that loan.
Yeah, that's a big problem. I was going to ask, and I don't want to anger all my Trump supporting friends, and I'm a Trump supporter, but like, do you think that here's the question.
Oh, because he's so far removed
Yes.
from that
Do
stuff.
you think that he is so far removed now and has been for decades that he can't relate to the struggles of the working man?
I think that it's been more apparent than ever how much we need Charlie Kirk. Charlie had his ear to the base.
Yeah.
He had the benefit of a daily radio show. He read all those emails. Like, this is one of the things that's like, people understand how great of a strength it is to have a radio show.
Yeah.
That way you can be tuned into a large amount of people, direct one-to-one connections on what they're
It's
feeling.
different than a podcast.
It's way different.
Yeah.
Charlie had that, and he had the president's ear.
Mm-hmm.
So he could go in there and he could get the president on the phone and say, "You're making a big mistake with X."
Yeah.
And Trump would listen. Who's doing that now?
Not Ben Shapiro.
Ben Shapiro said H-1B. He came out in support of H-1B visas.
Yeah.
Ben Shapiro said if you can't afford to buy a house in your hometown, then you got to move. It's like,
You said that?
yeah,
He's getting a bad. Well, I'm not going to say it this way. I was going to say he's getting a bad rap, but I'm wondering if it's deserved.
I think it's a bit deserved. Yeah.
I think and I don't want to go into this, but I think the whole thing with Candace Owens, Charlie Kirk, Benjamin Netanyahu, all of the sort of the
Fuentes, Tucker.
it's exhausting. But I think that he has kind of come out as someone who what's the best way to put this? Just the whole inner workings of all that is starting to feel a little slimy. I'm just going to say that. Say it that way.
Well, he feels Israel first,
Yeah.
and he was a never Trumper guy.
Yeah.
And it just seems like a lot of his stuff is like, I don't know.
All I'm going to say is I think that I used to really like Ben Shapiro, and that is becoming has become a lot less these days.
And I think the interesting part of this, right, is that it's not an either or, right? It's not like well, I've really learned to love Nick Fuentes and Candace Owens. Like that's not the case.
No.
But the angles that he's taking is just and his takes have just been off.
You have to be able to, and we talked about this before, but you know, you can be pro-Israel, but still call into question some of the things. And I don't know if Shapiro does that, but typically when I hear him speaking, I think it feels like he's pro-America, I should say pro-Israel to the detriment of America.
Yes.
That's sometimes where he is like Israel first, I'm America first, and I think it is in America's best interest to support Israel. But sometimes it feels like he is just support Israel regardless of how it impacts America. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
and it just feels off.
It feels off. But yeah, I said on my radio show, and I got some people mad. But one of the things that I said was, because people were asking me about this whole Tucker Carlson, Nick Fuentes thing. And my basic statement is anybody's allowed to talk to anybody.
Yeah.
And frankly,
did you watch that interview?
I watched some of it. And frankly, I don't care what everybody has to say. I just don't. Everybody's got a voice. Everybody's got an opinion. I don't need to listen to 1,000 other opinions to formulate my own. And I get enough opinions every single day, either doing what I do, listening to, listeners, listening to, people on my radio station. But it's just not necessarily something that I'm tuning in to see what Tucker has to say every night. I'm not. And
Yeah.
I just, and the whole Nick Fuentes thing, okay, so you don't like some of the things that he says. I don't like some of the things that he says. I probably don't like most things that he says. But here's the deal. Do you know what happens when I don't like what somebody says? I stop listening.
Or debate the ideas.
I'm at the point now, like where it's Nick Fuentes. You had told me a couple of, and I don't want to put you in a position to defend Nick Fuentes, but one of the things that he says is he defends the young white males in this country who, we just talked about it a few minutes ago, where he'll talk about the challenges that they have, sort of coming of age in America today. And that's true.
It resonates with
I might
people.
absolutely hate 90% of the stuff that he says. But that doesn't mean that I'm going to discount a message that I happen to share with him.
Yeah. And to be willing to like burn down the whole conservative party because somebody has a guest on that you don't like.
That's so dumb.
But the thing that really is wild is like Patrick Bet-David has Fuentes on his podcast before Tucker, and there's no backlash.
So,
except from Ben Shapiro, who just so happened to cancel a pre-planned scheduled interview.
Yeah.
And it's like, this is a guy, Patrick Bet-David has Benjamin Netanyahu on his podcast.
Yeah.
And then he has Nick Fuentes on his podcast. Like the epitome of talking
Polar
to
opposites.
anybody.
Yeah.
Like, and then that's a bridge too far for you. Like, you're fine with him when he has Netanyahu on, but as soon as he has Fuentes on, then you have to cancel your appearance. Like,
I think here's.
But why wouldn't you go on and
Debate
go
the
at the ideas?
Right.
Like,
right. I think, well, first of all, I think it'd be great to have them both on at the same time if they could, but I don't think that'd ever happen. But I think that the issue with from what I understand, Tucker's interview with Fuentes was very cordial, not
It was like
challenging
yeah.
ideas. Tucker was kind of kissing his ass. That's what I've heard. Patrick Bet David, who I actually like a lot, he is somebody who is going to challenge ideas, probe ideas, those kinds of things. And I think there is a difference between those two interview styles.
They were absolutely two different interviews.
Yeah.
I think that, and I watched both of them because that's the other thing. Like, some people get like so angry when it's ideas that they don't agree with, and they can't even deal with. Like, they can't even watch it. I can't believe that this guy would have them. I was like, I don't. Just because he has ideas I don't agree with doesn't mean that I wouldn't listen. The same way, like, I need to listen to what AOC is saying.
Yeah.
Because then you know how to combat those ideas.
Yes, that's exactly
If
right.
we don't know what your main points are, how can we debate? So I watched both of them. The Patrick Bet David one was more of like the Fuentes origin story and probing, why do you say the N-word? And why do you say this? Why do you say that? And, you know, it was okay. The Tucker one was just more of like a free-flowy conversation about politics in 2025.
Well, so I think both sides, conservatives and Democrats, I fear like conservatives are beginning to get as adept at cancel culture as the
Yeah.
Democrats are, and we've dealt with this in our job, where if we this week is a great example, where I'm very much of a Trump supporter, but if I dare come out and say, 50-year mortgages, really, 600,000 Chinese students, really, America has no talent, really. So,
and half the audience gets really upset.
And I will get. We have our super text line, and all these people start texting in.
Yep.
And calling me a liberal, and I'm never listening to you again. It's like, the fuck is your problem?
Dude, they did the same thing to me, and it's like, guys, I was working with Turning Point during the election. I was flying out to swing states on the weekend.
Yeah.
Missing time with my family to get this guy elected. Like, no. Like, screw you. If I can't criticize him, then who can? Like, we have to be able to do that. But I think you're right. We are getting, like, siloed a little bit. And it's like, no, you're over here, I'm over here. And it's like, okay, like, that's not a...
You can't listen to Nick Fuentes and be a supporter of Ted Cruz, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of the way it is.
So crazy.
Yeah. And and that is not a functioning party.
No. At the same time, though, we're not the only party going through this right now.
Oh, the Democrats are... Okay, so...
Which is like, it's kind of a blessing. I'd rather have these growing pains right now while they're in the middle of theirs as well.
Yeah.
Hopefully we can right the ship soon, because the party that is not in power is always going to be more motivated than the party that is. And we do have midterms to get to.
Well, and the Democrats are motivated by anger.
Grievance politics.
Which I know what I'm going to say, but which party do you think right now is a bigger train wreck, the Democrats or the Republicans?
Oh, Democrats.
Yeah, Democrats, obviously.
All day.
Well,
I mean, they're the party of the violence.
Yep.
They're the party of the insane. I mean, I played a clip today on my show. Scott Wiener, who's a state senator in California, he's just authored a host of bad bills. Like, if you don't affirm your kid's gender, the state can take the kid away.
Yeah, this guy's nuts.
He's nuts.
He's running for Nancy Pelosi's
He's going to take Pelosi's seat. This black woman comes in, black lesbian, said a man followed me into a locker room instead of town hall. And she said, what are you going to do to protect women? And his answer is, well, trans women are women. And it's like, you're still doing that.
Well, hold on. So Mason, let's play that audio. Woman's name is Hyman.
Tish Hyman.
Tish Hyman. And this is the woman, maybe you've seen the video. She's in the middle of a gym.
Yep.
And she is screaming bloody murder that there is a man parading around in the women's locker room. And so now she's become kind of a cause celeb, if you will. And so then she shows up at this town hall with
Scott Wiener.
So you've got
Tish Hyman,
and Scott Wiener. All right, so roll the tape.
Senator Wiener, as the only black lesbian here, can I please ask you a question, because I flew here to do that? Yeah. Okay. As a lesbian woman who was attacked in the women's locker room at Gold's Gym this week by a self-identifying trans woman, With the documented history of domestic violence, I'm deeply concerned about women's safety in female-only spaces. What would you say to women who are seeking assurance that their safety will be protected from men who, by California law, can self-ID as women in women-only spaces, sir? Please tell me.
Yeah, so we want, everyone to be safe, and we also know that, we have trans people, both men and women, who are men and women, and so, so if you're trans women are women.
Senator, you've done great things with the bills you've passed with the housing. I've read a lot of your bills, and like you said, there are bills that need to be opened up, and I'm telling you now, millions of women across America are being harassed and sexually assaulted in locker rooms. I'm a lesbian black woman. I'm not transphobic. I'm not homophobic. And I do respect a lot of the things you've done. But I do see a lot of these bills that you've passed that are dangerous for women and young children. And I understand that you're trying to be on a level playing field. And I'm here to represent my community because I hear a lot of things about my community in these bills. And I'm telling you as a woman, first and foremost, that this is dangerous, and we need your help because you're in the office. You're going to go in the Polinsky spot. I want to support you. I have millions of people behind me watching this right now, and we want to know: are you going to protect women, not trans women? Women, trans women are different things. Women. Listen, we need to protect women's safety. I was assaulted.
Women are women.
I was assaulted. No, they are not. They are men. I was assaulted by men. He broke his wife's jaw so bad she needed reconstructive surgery. I'm a lesbian. I'm not transphobic, and I'm black. So if there's another black woman in here who wants to tell me how they feel, please join in. But all of you are not. And I don't know who you are, what you are, but I'm a lesbian, and I'm telling you right now, men are harassing women in the locker room.
Let's let him answer the question.
I'm just telling you, since y'all want to woo.
No, just let's.
Now I'm done. And by the way, I respect what you have done. I just want to let you know that.
Let's give the senator the opportunity.
I'm done.
I appreciate your point of view.
Thank you.
I'm so sorry that you were harassed,
Multiple times.
and I appreciate you talking about it. I think we need to protect the safety of all women, and that obviously that's incredibly important. And I also know that trans women are also brutalized in this country. So women and cisgender women are brutalized in this country, and we have to protect the safety of all women.
We have to protect women. We cannot be raped in the bathrooms by men that want to say they're women. They're not women. They're not women. I'm leaving. It's okay, but I'm not going to take it. I am leaving because you know what? You guys are not protecting women. You're doing a lot. The bills that you're passing for the law, I read a lot of them. They're great. But this things with the trans, it's not right.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you. And my name is Tish Hyman. You heard me, sister? All right. Don't let them use our blackness and our civil rights as a reason to pass weird laws for children to transform. It's wrong. My sister's in jail. She can't get free tampons or soap, but she can get free transformation medication. Big Pharma at its best. Tired of it.
And you can hear the groans. The funny thing is, you can hear the groans of the people in the audience when she says, basically, number one, no, he's not a man. It's a woman, talking about the guy or she's not a woman.
It's a man.
It's a man. And then everybody's groaning because.
And like she's a transphobe. She goes, I love that she played this against them.
Yeah.
She goes, excuse me. I am black and a lesbian. It's like, whoa, it's getting kind of dicey here because when we do the Victim Olympics, at the end of the day, Scott Wiener is a white man. Yeah. So be careful speaking out against this black lesbian, sir.
And she's like, I'm not a transphobe.
Nope.
Not a transphobe. I'm a black lesbian. I'm not afraid to take your asses on. And somebody said that this kind of passion from, someone like a Tish Hyman, that's the kind of passion that could destroy the Democrat Party because she is pointing out the absurdity of their argument. It's not a white male that is on the heels now. This is a black lesbian. Go ahead. Yep. You call her a transphobe. See how that works out for you.
Well, how about try a racist? Let's do that too.
Yeah, let's call her a racist.
But she says this guy followed me in, and he is convicted of domestic violence. Broke his wife's jaw so bad she needed reconstructive surgery.
Yeah, and he's letting it hang all out.
And all Scott Wiener can say is trans women are women.
That's it.
Trans women are women.
Very, very robotic.
And let me remind you that trans women are being brutalized in this country.
Yeah, so is dude's wife.
Can you believe that?
And he only started getting his treatments in February.
That's a
So
man.
it's like 7-8 months ago.
That's a man.
So dude has been getting the treatments 8 months ago, but he's still got all the boy parts.
Stunning and brave.
Stunning and brave, and he's walking around, letting it all hang out. I think there's a perversion there. Like, I'm just going to say,
Yeah.
I think that there are some of these
perverts.
guys.
They're
Perverts,
yeah.
and they get off on, walking around, letting it all hang out in a women's. Or, there's. Oh God, did you see what Clay Travis did?
No.
So he said, I'm going to have to paraphrase. On his Twitter, he said that he was going to buy a sports team. I can't remember if it was like soccer.
WNBA.
Was it WNBA?
Yep.
So he was going to buy a WNBA team and put a bunch of men on there, dress them up as women, and say these are all trans, and he's going to take all the trophies in the WNBA.
You know, there was a movie about that already.
Yeah,
it was called Joanna Man.
What?
Joanna Man?
Joanna Man?
You don't remember Joanna Man? It's a movie that you could never make today, but it was an NBA player gets suspended and kicked out of the league for being kind of an asshole. And he says, I got to keep playing basketball. So he dons a wig and joins the WNBA. And then they go on to win the championship.
Well, the Daily Wire, what was the name of that Daily Wire, speaking of Ben Shapiro, what was the name of that Daily Wire movie?
What is a Woman?
What is a Woman? No. It wasn't What is a Woman.
Am I racist?
Nope. Bunch of dudes did what you're talking about.
Oh, yes. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Hold on.
It was
Daily Wire basketball movie is Lady Ballers.
Lady Ballers.
That shit was funny. I keep cursing. I'm sorry. That was funny. That was a very funny movie. And the reason why it was so funny is because a bunch of guys theoretically could get away with this.
Yeah.
They could get away with it. You act even the least bit sincere, and somebody please tell me what the problem is. So I love that Clay did that.
Some people are saying that it's already happened with Brittany Griner. There's internet theories that Brittany Griner is actually a man. The Russian, the one that got swooped up in a Russian prison.
I know who he
played
is.
For Phoenix.
Yeah.
I know who he is.
No, I don't know. Have you ever heard Brittany Griner speak?
Yes.
It was so simple before and couldn't even stay up very long, and just a regular plank when I first came back.
That ain't no woman. It's a man.
Because as an athlete, you always want to be where you left off.
I mean, she's got a deeper voice than I do.
It's true.
So,
although you never know, dude. I mean, like, that could have just been steroids and testosterone that messed her up. I met this lady one time at a Halloween party, and she was like a bodybuilder. So I was very unnerved. And
really?
Yeah. I mean, she was a woman. Very, very strong woman. And I think that she was
she
on
could take you on in arm wrestling, could she?
Oh, I wouldn't even want to embarrass myself. But I think she was on some performance-enhancing drugs.
Yeah.
And that can do that, too. So who knows? But
well, but the point is, and I don't know how we got to where we are right now, but the point is that when you look at the train wreckery of the two parties, I think the Democrats, there's a reason why they this week have been so obsessed with the Epstein thing and trying to push that narrative forward, is because they know that they're getting their butts handed to them after the shutdown. And here's something that I said earlier today, which is I'm watching CNN and they've got all of this Epstein stuff, right? And then they've got a poll, and the poll says that the majority of voters blame the Republicans for the shutdown. And I immediately called BS on that, because if they truly believed that the American people saw the Republicans as to blame for the shutdown, then they wouldn't be doing all the Epstein stuff.
Nope.
They would be marinating in, it's all the Republicans' fault.
Yep.
So,
but it was the Democrats that voted to keep the government closed, and it was the Democrats that bent the knee at the end of the day.
Yeah. And I don't know, were you surprised that the Democrats bent the knee at the end?
No. Not at all. I kind of figured that
I
was going
think
to happen.
they realized that the Republicans were not playing.
No, and then after the election, there was
Mangani,
no.
yeah.
It wasn't a useful tool anymore.
No, and I think that for the for the Democrats, I think that they knew that they were losing the narrative. The American people can do math, and if you need 60 votes in the Senate to reopen the government, and all 52, 53 Republicans in the Senate voted to reopen the government, and it took 8 Democrats to come from across the aisle, and all the other Democrats voted no, keep the government closed. The American people can do math. And so here's my worry, though, is, you and I are mired in this every day.
Mm-hmm.
People that are watching this right now, they're mired in this stuff every day. They love this stuff. I see politics as a sport.
It's entertainment. Yeah.
It is entertainment, absolutely. So, but do you think the American people, do you think they understand the concept of a filibuster and you need 60 votes to defeat the filibuster? Or do they just think, well, there's a Republican, Donald Trump's a Republican and the Republicans control the House and the Senate, so it must be Republicans' fault?
I think
that scares me.
Yeah, it scares me too. But that's one of the main reasons why I want to get rid of the filibuster. Like, we have such a small window of opportunity.
Yeah.
We have to pass voter ID nationwide. We have to get rid of mail-in ballots. We have to redo the census. Like, there are certain things that we really need to do to secure power, because that's what it comes down to. We can't let these Democrats get back into office, because they'll nuke the filibuster day one. And that's going to lead to 30 million illegal aliens amnestied. That's going to lead to nationwide mail-in voting, a packed Supreme Court, a state of Puerto Rico, and a state of D.C.
Yeah.
It's going to be more congressional seats, more Senate seats, and then guess what? We never get back in.
That is the fear, and so. I don't think the Democrats are going to do it. I don't think. I'm sorry. I don't think the Republicans are going to do it. I think the Democrats might.
The Democrats have told us they'd do it.
We are.
I think we need to fight.
We do need to fight. We do need to fight. I've gone back and forth on the whole filibuster thing. Right now, I do believe that we should eliminate the filibuster, because I do believe the Democrats will do it because they're angry.
Yep.
And look who's going to be the next Speaker of the House. It's not going to be Hakeem Jeffries.
Timu Obama? Chuck E. Cheese Obama?
I don't think it's going to be Timu Obama. If the Democrats take over the House of Representatives, they're talking about how Timu Obama, Hakeem Jeffries, is not going to be the Speaker. Now, I don't know who it would be.
AOC, Jasmine Crockett.
I'm thinking about AOC. I'm thinking about Jasmine Crockett. They have all come out and said that they support torching the filibuster. Now, that's a Senate thing. So if you look over to the Senate, Cory Booker will no doubt be the next
Cory
Speaker.
Booker's been in favor of it. Jamie Raskin's been in favor of it. Schiff has been in favor of it.
Yeah. Dick Durbin, I don't know where Dick Durbin is, but people were talking about how Dick Durbin might be the next leader
Schumer,
of the Democrat leader of the Senate. But I think Dick Durbin is too old.
Hasn't stopped them before.
But no. But here's the deal. Right now in the Democrat Party, there's a movement towards youth. There's a reason why they're talking about AOC running against Chuck Schumer. So I think
you can make that same argument with the conservatives. We had a youth movement going on to a certain extent, with the injection of new people in the cabinet, and not Trump per se, because he's still pretty old, but there was a youth energy, and then we got John Thune. You know what I mean? So it wouldn't, the way those guys work in the back rooms.
Okay, but see, here's the difference though between our youth movement and the youth movement of the Democrats, is that I don't know what to do with my arm. So the youth movement with the Democrats, there's a huge difference between the young Democrats and the old Democrats. The old Democrats, Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, relatively speaking, they're more mainstream. The young Democrats are the progressives and the radicals, and the older Democrats are running scared for their political lives. The youth movement in the Republican Party, you're still looking at some consistent values all the way through. We're not crazy on our side like they're crazy on their side. At least that's what we say. But J.D. Vance is incredibly conservative, and he's not radical. He's conservative.
Can J.D. Vance? I've always said, I was really gung ho after the election, and I was like, man, unless something catastrophic happens, if the victories that we've seen so far end up being the victories from this Trump administration, and we lose in the midterms, we lose power, and more impeachments happen, is that the catastrophic event that would keep J.D. Vance from becoming president in 2028? Would that open the field to others? Would we ever see a situation, if Trump keeps putting his foot in his mouth, where we're going to have to see Vance separate himself from Trump the way we had to see Kamala try and separate herself from Biden?
They've already done that. I think if you pay very close attention, and I know you do, but it is clear that J.D. Vance seems somewhat insulated from, like, I haven't seen J.D. Vance comment on 600,000 Chinese students. I haven't seen J.D. Vance comment on 50-year mortgages, and I don't know about the other stuff. But I have not seen him put in a position of having to comment on some of these things that Donald Trump has commented on. But if he was put in that position, I think that he could knock it out of the park. I think that he would be, I mean, no offense to Trump, but he'd be far more eloquent than Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Because Trump doesn't, he just doesn't, I love the man, but his famous weave, and he's not the master communicator that he needs to be. It used to work. His style did work back during the first campaign, even during the second campaign a bit. But I think that there are times when we do need the eloquence of a Marco Rubio or a J.D. Vance. I mean, that interview with Laura Ingraham, I think that if it's J.D. Vance or Marco Rubio being pressed on those same topics, I think that they could have presented their side, the Republican side or the Trump administration side, a lot more eloquent than Donald Trump did.
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
I think that's fair.
So now but let's say that we do lose the midterms, and then what happens for the next 2 years? Is J.D. Vance still the heir apparent? Is it Marco Rubio? I still maintain that it's J.D. Vance, Marco Rubio. I don't know if I would call them an unbeatable ticket, because if the economy goes south, and once the Democrats, if they end up winning the midterm elections, then all progress stops.
Could an RFK presidential candidate in 2028 gain more steam than he did in 2024?
I think he could gain more steam. And I like RFK a lot. I don't think that he would be the guy for the job. I don't think he would be. I still, because he just doesn't have, and neither did Donald Trump, but he was such a special case. I don't think RFK has the political chops to be a president. I think that he's great for the Maha movement, but I still think that if you're looking at foreign policy, you've got Marco Rubio. If you're looking for the charisma and the eloquence and just the relatability of a top-of-the-ticket candidate like J.D. Vance, I still think that is a really good ticket.
Well, I didn't even mean as a conservative. I meant as an independent.
Oh, I think he'd be a great independent. I think RFK, his profile has been raised. His profile has been raised, and Trump has raised his profile. And the people that have always hated RFK still hate RFK.
But do you think we could have more of a three-party system now than we could have in 2024?
No, I think that he would still be a spoiler for the. He would pull away from a JD Vance.
He'd pull, and I think this time he would definitely pull more from conservatives than he would from.
Well, yeah, because
the Democrats.
his profile has been raised big time, and there's a lot of things that he has said that is conservative and rings true with the conservative audience, and I would fear actually that he would run for the presidency as an independent, and that would pull away from J.D. Vance, and that would be a problem. The Democrats are automatrons. I mean, they were going to vote for Joe Biden regardless. They were going to vote for Kamala Harris regardless. Yep. And they're even more motivated now. And so I don't care if it's Gavin Newsom, Amy Klobuchar, whoever else is going to be at the top of the ticket for the Democrats. I think that the Democrats will vote for whoever that is at the top of the ticket, even if it's Kamala Harris.
Yeah, no, I think you're right.
Republicans are more free-thinking.
All right, before we wrap it up, I figured out how to save Social Security.
You did?
Figured it out today on the show.
All
Mason
right.
can co-sign this.
Okay.
It's a brilliant idea.
Mm-hmm.
We let Nancy Pelosi manage it.
Yes. That's brilliant, actually.
You'd have bipartisan support.
Absolutely.
We've been making money. If we're going to inside trade, why not benefit everyone?
Let's do it for the people.
Do it for the people. As always, hit like, hit subscribe, jump in the comments, let us know what you think. I mean, we did a lot. We talked about...
we sure did.
How do you feel about pajama parties? How do you feel about Land Acknowledgement Day coming up? How do you feel about...
saving Social Security via Nancy Pelosi?
That's a brilliant idea. And who says no? Who says no?
Nobody.
Donald Trump's week. What do you think about it? And where do we go from here?
Like and subscribe, comment, and listen to our radio shows. I am on WTN 6 to 10 Eastern Time. We're on all the socials. You can stream us as well, 997WTN.com.
I'm on 9 to 12 Central Time, the best time zone. Everybody understands that. Everybody knows it. And you can catch me anytime.
You'll notice I'm just like not
whatever.
saying anything.
At Chris Hand on air. Again, hit like, hit subscribe. We appreciate you guys. Love you guys. Bye.